Hi guys, Kirk and Dan here with Kirk, Giordano Plastering. Today what we're going to show you how to do is this intricate cut up arched front entrance. Now usually the more intricate or complicated, the more pleasure I get out of it because it's something different. I love doing this kind of stuff. What we need if you're going to do stuff like this is regular corner aid. I've got arch aid. Now this stuff will give me the arches. It bends. Do that. Special water piece. I need half flanges. Now this corner aid here, instead of having two corners that are the same length, one is a half flange for when we do that pillar there. Also, this is kind of intricate where we're going to be matching this tex coat finish. Now what I'm going to do first is, I've already measured this piece of J-trim. And the builder said, Kirk, do you want to break all this out? I said, no, we don't want to break all that out unless you have to. He told me the stucco here is over 100 years old. So on stucco that's over 100 years old, the last thing I want to do is open it up, open a can of worms, so to speak. So what we're going to do is, I've cut this piece here. It's a J-trim. We're going to put the J-trim right here. Now he used pressure treated wood on all this, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a fat bead of caulking right here. Now notice, can you see that, Dan? See that big fat bead of caulking that's coming out here? Show you. Big bead of caulking. If I have to use a tube or two, that's okay. I don't mind using a tube or two of caulking because it has a purpose. Okay. There we go. Fat bead of caulking. I cut my tube right center here. I didn't leave the tip pointed, otherwise I'm pulling this trigger forever. Now I got that, I put my J-trim on. And what that does is, when it rains, you can see that the caulking has already come out of these holes right here. And it sealed this right here also. So when it rains, that'll stop the water from going and getting on the back of here. We open this up, we never know what we're going to find when we open up a 100-year-old house. Anyhow, we're going to get started. It's going to take Dan and I about 10 hours today, maybe 9. So we'll see just how much we can show you in say a 10-minute video for 10 hours work. All right, guys. Now that we have our screed here, I'll put a screed up here. What I do is I fill the top up here because that's where the stucco stop it. And of course, they're going to put a flashing cap that goes 4 inches down here and 4 inches down the other side. That way water doesn't go through that cap. And I'm using this stuff here. This is actually for arches. For say a drip here, you cut these and you make arches. So I don't want any of you folks who watch and say, gee whiz, we need that stuff. No, you do not. I just happen to have so much of this in my garage that I thought, well, it's been about 15 years, you haven't used it, you might as well just use it up. So you cut these little guys right here and then this flexes like an arch aid. But I can use it for this right here. Now what I do is I get it right where I want it. Okay guys, 3-foot roll. I just cut it directly in half. I cut a piece off about 10 feet. And what I want to do is I want it to come at least 5 to 6 inches past here, 5 to 6 inches past here. We'll cut it, slice it. I'll show you that part when we get to it. All right. Once we got that there, what we're going to do is we're going to put some cuts in it. What I'm going to do is push these upward. course, how we waterproof an arch. When I get ready to put my other paper here, my cuts are going to be different. I'll cut here, and we'll seal this part. We'll seal this part. I'll show it to you. It's a lot easier to explain. Notice where my cuts are, and I've marked all my studs underneath here. I know where they are. Now what I want to do is I'm going to cut that pipe out. And in this piece, I want to go right underneath. So if you're doing it by yourself, this takes a little bit of practice. Okay, so you ought to know where your studs are. Now we're going to go ahead and cut this corner out. What I'll do, because I'm doing this myself, is cut the roll here. And I use the roll as a guide. Alright, now I get this piece here. A couple ways I can do this corner is I can bend it over like so, or I can cut it on. I think I will bend it over like that. Alright, now I have to lift this bottom up. And here's what I do with this pipe. I take this around. I always want to come around to my corners this way. I double wrap them this way. When I bring my next sheet, I'll double wrap that. To get this pipe right here, I'll just cut it here, cut it there. Around. I'll pretty that up in a minute. Always good to start off with a brand new blade. Of course, this one isn't brand new. Anyway, okay, now to find where these guys are. Take a look here. Come down. 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 What I'm basically doing is I'm going to wrap this underneath. And I want to avoid those areas that I got my initial cut in. I'll show you why we do that. Okay. Now we tuck under here. Tuck under. Get that arch. That way when the water hits this and goes through the stucco, it'll come here and just drip harmlessly. It won't rot out this wood here. This takes a little bit of practice. Alright guys, I put a little piece of peel and stick membrane right here because we've got a critical area here, these joints. It works a lot better than paper. Now what we're going to do is do our wire. Generally I'll cut a piece that I think will be about the right size, and Dan and I are just going to temporarily tack it up. Then what I'm going to do is take the big gun and staple it on permanently. But if I use the big gun right now, it will drown out what I'm trying to say. Okay, so I take that there. Hopefully that'll stay. Then I take this area here and I cut this pipe out. Well, there it is. Cut that pipe out. And me, I don't usually like to bend my corners. Like some guys bend it around here, but when you do that, you puncture these. So I'm going to cut this corner here. Then I'm going to follow the arch. This gets archade and this gets Soffit Mesh. So I want to stay back about 1/4 inch because the archade is going to tie these two different metals together anyhow. So this is what we want to do. Now, it's going to take me a few minutes to cut all this. We'll show you when it's cut. Okay guys, same deal in here. We're putting the paper here and here. This gets wood, so we're not touching this guy right here. We're not touching this or the front entrance. So now we're going to begin with the mesh. The mesh is, I'll show you that in a minute. Alright guys, now we're going to do a Soffit Mesh. Not going to use the gun, otherwise that compressor is going to start and it's going to drown me out. Now Dan cut this 12 inches. So just for the sake of explanation, I'm going to pop this guy on here. And as is a key thing too, because I had a fella just email me and he said, man, how do you do those lids? When he said lids, he was referring to soffits, ceilings, lids. We call them lids or soffits. He says, I've been trying to, all the mud just keeps falling off. And so I said, send me a picture. He sent me a picture, and they used this wire right here. Now, if this wire, see how big the holes are, if you try to do a soffit, man, you better be good. I've done many jobs where I come out 20 by 30 feet, all ceilings done with this, and what I'll do is I'll say, I'll piss and moan a little bit first, and I'll say, gee, we could do two things, redo it, or what I'll generally do if I come to a ceiling with this heavy stuff here is I'll have my son mix extra rich, and then we got to use a lot of muscle to squeeze it in there, and it still falls all over the place. But this here, this is called 3.4 mesh, and what happens is the cement goes through these little itty bitty holes and it mushrooms on top. That's what adheres it. So if you're going to do ceiling soffits, always use this here. I'm sure the fellow who emailed me will see this and say, yeah, that's what I needed. All right, guys. What I generally do is I'll kind of bend this archie to match these. And of course we have a few behind the scenes issues that won't be exposed, but all these corners don't align. So the fellow asked me, gee, can you get these corners where they will? I said, well, we'll do the best we can for you. I can't promise anything because the framing's off a bit. As far as these corners go, another thing I hear is, how do you put these corners on? Well, I'll usually use my big gun, but if I use my big gun, it's going to drown out my talking. I'll use that in a second. Unlike the corners here, we'll put a corner 8 and they'll stick out 7/8 each side. When we do this, we want to come out 7/8 here to match this 7/8 here, so it's true and plumb. But the ceiling or the lid, the soffit, that's only a 1/2 inch. So that's a big tip to know that when you're doing stuff like this. Because if you don't know that, you'll try to get this 7/8 and then the plain 7/8, it can't be done. Anyhow, folks, my name is Kirk. I'm with Kirk Giordano Plastering. I thought I'd just show you this the majority of what we're doing right here. We're going to get busy and go ahead and wrap this up. As usual, folks, we'll see you guys on the next one.